Hey guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Noob to Nodewar, the road to 400 gear score. So in this episode, we're finally going to hit level 50, and as such, it's time to actually start looking into gear score, which is, in the end, what the series is all about. So gear score is simply the combination of your AP plus your DP. That is your gear score. 200 AP plus 200 DP would mean you would have 400 gear score, which would be enough for this video. However, getting to 400 gear score is a little more complicated than that, as 400 gear score takes a decent amount of money. Not a lot, but for a new player, it's quite expensive. So our first goal is 300 gear score, and we're going to hit that today. So to hit 300 gear score, it's actually pretty easy. If you get full plus 15 ultimate items with the Osceola set and I believe the Roaring Magical chest piece, you will have over 300 gear score. In fact, you'll have 317.5 using the Dim Magical chest piece, and you'll have 329.5 with the Roaring Magical. So, to start off with, hitting level 50 is pretty simple. Once you follow the Black Spirit quest, followed all the various grinding places, you will hit level 50 at Catfish Men. And the reason I say at Catfish Men with definitively, I don't know, is because the quest that allows you to hit level 50 is at Catfish Men. Once you hit level 49, you'll be given a quest for the Black Spirit that forces you to kill this giant catfishman out in the middle of a lake that is really annoying to get to. And once you kill him, you're able to ding 50. If you never complete this quest, you will be forever stuck at level 49.99. There is no way around this. You have to complete this quest. So over at Catfishman, there's actually a few interesting little grind spots that can give you some free stuff to help you get some gear score without spending any silver. So the big two are the Catfishmen and the Manshaws. The Manshaws are literally just a little west of the Catfishmen in the forest, and the Catfishmen are next to the lake. Lake Kaya, I want to say. So the Catfishmen drop part of the Treant Echo Spirit accessory set, as do the Manshaws, and as do the Rootums and the Treants themselves. But you don't really care about the Rootums and the Treants because this set isn't that great. It's just convenient to use because it's free. So the Catfishmen drop the earring as well as part of another set called the Lure set. And I believe the Catfishmen drop Lure's gloves while Manshaws drop Lure's helmet. Now, farming for these is not a bad idea because this will save you several million silver if you farm up 2 earrings, 2 rings, and the Lure set. The earrings and rings could be easily replaced for about 1 million silver each, maybe even a bit less. But like I said, it's totally free, and you want to farm over there anyways just to hit 50, maybe even 51 or 52 if you feel so inclined. Farming over there is not bad, you'll get some free items, and all of these items, while they're not great, they're not bad either. For a new player, that is. If you are in any way an experienced player, if you got at least plus 10 gear, you don't care about the Lure set at all, and if you have accessories worth more than about 1 million silver each, you probably don't care about the Treant Echo Spirit set. But farming these things up is not a bad idea because you're already there anyways, and this is the best farming spot to hit level 50 in the game. You want to use the Chimeras to hit like level 44 or level 46, but once you hit about 44, 45, 46, head on over to Manshaws and kill them, or Catfishmen, until you get 50. As soon as you get 2 of the accessories, I would switch over to the other one so you can start farming those accessories. Anyways, you'll hit 49.99, you'll do the little Catfishman giant fat dude quest, and you'll hit level 50. Now this is when you can start getting the really good free stuff. So once you hit level 50, as long as you've been following the Black Spirit quest, you can continue to follow the Black Spirit quest all the way up to the Hexmarie Witch. And once you hit there, you will get the Dim Magical Armor, a 48 or 49 DP armor that can be upgraded to a 60 DP armor called the Roaring Magical Armor, which is a pretty good chest piece and will save you 45 million silver by getting it because you won't have to buy a duo green chest piece. You can just use the Roaring Magical Armor for quite a while. On top of that, once you've done that, you can go over to Medea, and Medea is where possibly the best free accessory set in the game exists. Now, if you want to be pedantic, there is a set of accessories you can get at level 61 and level 62 called the Capotia set. Now, I call it a set, but it's actually only a ring at 61 and an earring at 62. Both of them are the equivalent of a tri-boss earring and ring, and both of them are worth over 1 billion silver each, But because hitting 61 and 62 will take many, many hours, you'll earn literally billions of silver in the grind for 61 and 62. And by that point, even if you don't have accessories to replace them, any other free item in the game will be totally useless to you. And if you're not at 400 gear score by the time you hit 61 or 62, shoot me a message because I want to find out how. Do not shoot me a message saying that you hit 61 or 62 after taking off all your gear, so you had like 50 gear score as you killed the last thing or processed. That doesn't count. Anyways, so the Osculus set is the best free accessory set in the game. It's probably the best free anything in the game because it saves you so much money. For reference, right before the Osculus set came out, I purchased a Duo Schultz necklace for 120 million silver. That price of that necklace is now 35 million silver, and it's kind of pretty much the same story with every Oscula item in the game. Each one replaced an item worth somewhere between 50 and 130 million silver. The belt, the necklace, the rings, and the earrings. Which means if you got all of them, you were saving 300 to 400 million silver just for having this set. Like, it's that good. Now, obviously you're saving less silver now because the Osculus set has driven the prices of these accessories down, but it is still a super great set to farm, and that is what you're going to be spending the next several days in Black Desert doing, or several minutes to hours if you're super lucky and get the drops right away. So the first place that we're going to go to farm the Osculus set is Helms. Now, Helms is a really good place to farm as a newbie. You don't need very good gear, but you will want to prepare a little, as Medea is a much harder place to farm than Caltheon was. So, to go to Medea and farm, I would say that you'd want, at the very minimum, an equivalent to the Treant Echo Spirit set. So you want like 5 AP items in each accessory slot. You want at least probably plus 10 armor. Plus 5 maybe will be acceptable, but I would say plus 10 is a lot safer. And you can just use the dim magical armor as your chest piece because, well, that's pretty good. You don't need to worry about doing the roaring magical chest just yet. But if you want to, feel free to go off and continue that quest line. For your weapon, I would say a plus 15 weapon and at the very least a plus 5 to 10 sub-weapon are all you really need for Helms. Helms you only need about 100 AP to do, and 100 AP is pretty easy to do because your weapon alone at plus 15 gives over 70 AP, which means 70 plus the 5, on average about 5 that you get from the Echo Spirit set, will get you to 100 right there without even using a sub-weapon. So once you have all these, they're not hard to get, and you can try farming Helms before this. These are just kind of like the safe boundaries I would set. Go on over to Helms, and Helms actually drops 4 out of the 6 pieces of the Asula set. It drops the ring and the earring, which, because both of them have 2 slots for, that's 4 out of 6, with the necklace being dropped at the abandoned iron mine and the belt being dropped at the Elrics. So you're going to want to spend a while over at Helms because not only is it where you farm the Asula set, it's also a great spot for both money and experience as a lower level. Until you hit 56, farming Helms is pretty awesome. Even once you hit 56, you could farm Helms to like 57 or even 58 with no real regrets. There are slightly better farming spots, but Helms, great spot to farm. Your only real disadvantage at Helms is other people trying to farm the Asula set, messing up your rotation. That is the big disadvantage that comes with Helms. Now, Helms, you're going to earn pretty good money per hour. You're going to get the Asula set, and once you have 4 out of the 6, so you got the rings and you got the earrings, you should head on over to the abandoned iron mine to farm up the necklace. The Asula set, my personal recommendation is not to farm the belt. The belt is... personally, I just don't think the belt's worth it. Schultz belts are like the cheapest decent blue accessory in the game after like blue coral rings, and blue coral rings aren't actually that great after a while because Asula rings blow them out of the water. But the Schultz belt is actually a pretty good belt, and it's really cheap. You can get like a duo Schultz belt for like 10 million silver or something like that. Super cheap. And Elrics is a terrible place to farm. Like, oh my god. I hate farming Elrics. It is awful. If there's any guild that has a guild quest there, they're going to mess up your rotation horribly. If you farm quickly, you're going to mess up your own rotation horribly. It's just a terrible place to farm. So if you don't want to farm the belt, don't worry about it. The Asula set does have a set effect, but it's at 5 pieces, 3 and 5. You don't need to worry about getting a 6th piece. It's totally fine to just get 5 pieces and say, okay, Now I'm going to go farm somewhere else and not worry about getting the belt. If you do want the belt though, go farm Elric's. It'll drop eventually, hopefully. I still haven't gotten a belt drop there, so you're kind of going to have to cross your fingers and hope, but you will probably get it eventually. So once you farmed up the Asula set, you are actually pretty close to 300 gear score. Now, the total cost for 300 gear score is about 80 million silver. And personally, I would recommend that you purchase most of the items you need. The Asula set and the dim magical armor, you always have to farm those. But for the plus 15 weapon, the plus 15 armor, and the plus 15 sub weapon, I would recommend buying them off the marketplace for the simple reason that in order to hit 300 gear score with these items, you want to be using ultimate gear. And ultimate gear is just green gear that you've applied an ultimate reform stone to and made into ultimate. The ultimate reform stone adds 5 DP flat no matter what level your armor is at, and it also adds a decent amount of AP to your weapon as well as a decent amount of AP to your sub weapon. But they are pretty expensive. They cost several million silver each, and you need one for each piece of armor and weapon that you're going to be ultimating, or ulting, I guess. So by buying them, a lot of the cost is actually offset because the price of a plus 15 armor and the price of a plus 15 ultimate weapon stone do not actually add up. It's a bit higher if you want to purchase them individually. And also, ultimate stones are not always on the marketplace. They can actually be pretty difficult to find ultimate stones when you really want them. So personally, I recommend just purchasing them. 19 million silver or 18 million silver each is actually pretty cheap. You'll have that after a couple of hours farming Helms, and you should just do it piece by piece. First, you get your plus 15 weapon, if you don't already have it. If you have a plus 15 weapon, I would recommend not selling it. Just buy yourself an ultimate weapon stone for it. But for the armor, if you have plus 5 to 10 armor, just sell the plus 5 to 10 armor and buy a plus 15 ultimate armor. Do it one at a time. So first replace your helmet, as that's the biggest piece. You don't need to worry about your chest plate. And then replace your gloves and boots. Doesn't matter the order, as they both give the exact same amount of DP. And your sub weapon, you can replace that before the armor, but if you're finding you have survivability problems, like I've recommended before, replace the armor. Because armor, you don't need armor until you do, which is to say, as long as you are capable of surviving without using a ton of potions, you have no need of buying better armor, as better armor won't make you survive any better if you're already surviving perfectly fine. However, if you find that you are using a lot of potions or even dying while you're grinding, then you do need to upgrade your armor because now you are in need of survivability, and armor is what will give you that. Now, the important distinction to make here is if you're dying because you can't kill them in time, kind of look at how long it takes you to kill them. If it's taking you 30 seconds to kill a single pack of monsters, it's not an armor problem, it's a weapon problem, because you should be killing monsters a lot faster than 30 seconds per pack. The average time per pack for a new player should be about 5 to 10 seconds at most. Don't take more than 10 seconds per pack. If you're taking more than 10 seconds per pack, it's definitely an AP problem, and that means you need better AP. Later on in the game, you're probably not going to be bothering to farm monsters that you don't one-shot unless you're farming really difficult monsters such as Giffins in Kamasilv. For the most part, you're going to be one-shotting entire packs of monsters and moving on. So upgrade your weapons if you're having problems killing monsters in a certain amount of time. Upgrade your armor if you're having problems surviving against monsters despite killing them in reasonable amounts of time. Anyways, once you have full plus 15 weapons and armor, all ultimate, as well as a dim magical chest piece and the Asula set, you will be above 300 gear score. And you can do all this for less than 100 million silver, which is pretty good. Next episode, we will be discussing 350 gear score, as well as moving towards 400. I'm probably going to wrap this series up. At least Season 1, which is 400. I will be doing Season 2 to 450, no worries. In the next 2 episodes, and we will be discussing kind of what you need for the 400 gear score and where you should be farming. Next episode will be primarily focused on where to farm now that you farmed the Asula set, as well as what upgrades to prioritize and how to kind of deal with looking for guilds as you approach 400 gear score. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the late release, I was super busy over the weekend. Subscribe if you liked it, and have a good one. Oh, also, as always, comment below on what you liked or disliked about this episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.